Well, we begin with President Biden finally hitting the campaign trail we've all been waiting 2 months after announcing his re-election bid. Biden will hold his first campaign rally tomorrow in Philadelphia. And while he's expected to be the Democrat nominee, the president, he could potentially lose the first 2 primaries of the season if Iowa and New Hampshire hold their contests first. Interesting, as they've done in the past. This time around, Biden's team wants South Carolina, which he won in the 2020 primary, to be the first state to primary. I wonder why. They've indicated the president won't be on the ballot in New Hampshire and Iowa if they vote before the Palmetto State. And that scenario could hand a victory to rival Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or another long-shot Democrat. Meanwhile, Florida governor and Republican candidate Ron DeSantis is calling on California Governor Gavin Newsom to step up to the plate and run against Biden.
You know what? Stop pussyfooting around. Are you going to... Are you going to throw your hat in the ring and challenge Joe? Are you going to get in and do it, or are you just going to sit on the sidelines and chirp? So why don't you throw your hat in the ring, and then we'll go ahead and talk about what's happening.
Chris, so I want to go back to New Hampshire and Iowa and the potential of Biden losing. I'm hearing some of the surrogates say, oh, it's okay if he loses the first 2, he'll still win. Okay, no one wants to lose the first 2 states, so that's just hogwash. But here's what I'm truly interested in. This is a sign of Biden's unfettered weakness within his party, because I remember former President Trump, there were states voluntarily canceling their primaries, saying we're pledging our delegates to Trump in 2020. He is the president. He's the de facto nominee. That's how things normally go. He got no significant primary challenger. There were no 2020 primary debates. Joe Biden, however, this is Iowa and New Hampshire actively defying him. And it shows his unfettered weakness in his party, with 52% of Democrats saying we don't want the guy to run.
It's incredible. I mean, the alternatives here, Kennedy is running at 20% or so without even having run a single advertisement. That shows how unhappy people are with Biden in general. He's so weak. He didn't do well in Iowa the first time, didn't do well in New Hampshire the first time. South Carolina was kind of his bulwark, but a sitting president should never have to worry about getting challenged. I mean, only weak presidents get challenged. George H.W. Bush took a primary challenge. Because of that, possibly, he lost the general election. Jimmy Carter took a primary challenge from Kennedy. Because of that, probably, he lost the election. When you have your own party beating up on you this badly beforehand, then you're in trouble.
You're in big trouble. And Cheryl, what's interesting, too, is this prospect of a third-party candidate.
Yes.
Okay, this matters enormously. And there could be 2. We know Cornel West has come out and said, hey, I'm running. And his party, the People's Progressive Party, I believe it's called, or some iteration of that, the People's Party, I should say, they're on the ballot in Florida, Missouri, Virginia. So it could be a game changer in a state like Florida. There's also this No Labels Party. And they say, if we think we have a viable path to the nomination, there's a yearning for a third-party candidate, we will put a candidate on the ballot. They are in Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, and Oregon. This could make a difference.
Well, and obviously they're concerned about a third-party candidate, because that would split the vote, and that would help whoever the Republican nominee would be, whether it's Donald Trump or DeSantis. That's the fear. And look, I'm old enough to remember the Ross Perot effect on the presidential election that year. I think Chris is the elder statesman who's agreeing with me here. But look, I mean, there's a lot of weaknesses with Joe Biden, but I will focus on what I know, and that's the economy. And right now, that is the #1 problem for him. That is why he is polling so badly right now, while he is open to these challenges from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and also from Marianne Williamson, because Americans are going to vote, again, I'm going to say this now, even though it's only 2023, with their wallet. And his handling the economy and inflation has been a problem. And look, he announced his bid for re-election, 2 months ago? He's finally just now getting out to hold a rally tomorrow in Pennsylvania. And the 2 people he's addressing tonight and tomorrow, that group in Connecticut, it's a green group, it's union members, very safe place, a very safe space for him. I think they're going to hide him again in this election, but he's got now a record to run on. It's not a good one. Yeah, and I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, and it will be the economy, no doubt. That's the #1 issue in every poll. But Emily, one of the things that was interesting, I saw this in SEMA 4 this morning, about Republicans trying to court Muslim voters. And if you'll remember, there was that protest in Maryland, Muslim voters and Christian parents, I should say, who were saying, we just don't want you trying to indoctrinate our kids in our classroom. And that's a really interesting prospect in a place like, let's say, Michigan, trying to court new voters on these cultural issues that have to do with kids in schools.
That's right. And add to that as well the coalescing of different religious and political groups, frankly, on the issue of the flag, right? And essentially like centering the United States flag, which we saw in Minnesota, versus sort of discarding any notions of patriotism for sort of blatant virtue signaling flag flying. And I want to point out as well, the interesting what I see issue is how they're dealing with all of these challengers, right? So keep in mind that the media, the sort of pet dog media of this White House has claimed RFK Jr., for example, Newsweek had written that he was a crackpot. Esquire said that, oh, it would be cannon fodder, obviously, if someone with less than 20% of the votes in that party went against an incumbent president. They scoff and laugh and call him fringe, including sitting congressmen. But what I don't understand is why they're not answering the question which is, if he is so fringe, if he's such a crackpot, if he's just cannon fodder, then why do so many people like him right now? Why is there such a large percentage of Democratic Party voters that are voting for him? Because they say out of two sides of their mouth. On one hand, there's no name recognition. We need to get to know him. On the other, well, it's obviously because he's a Kennedy. I see a confusion by the Democrat Party because not only are they confused by the fact that there are challengers, but because they don't know how to deal with the main looming question, the elephant in the room for the Democrat Party, which is, yes, please, anyone but Biden, anyone but Kamala, please give us more.
Yeah,
and the weakness with Harris, to be clear here. That's another big part of the discussion.
Yeah, that's true. You know, what was so interesting, though, is the favorability numbers for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. were the highest among candidates in either party. So they should be nervous. And to your point about the media calling him a crackpot, there was a line in Politico, and it said the Biden White House is counting on the media to elucidate his record. I wish we could count on the media to do the same thing.
Well, they
on
ran the last race for them.
Yeah, right, exactly. Kaylee, one point on this third-party candidate bid. I found some interesting polling at NBC. So get this, in 2016, 6% of all voters cast ballots for third-party candidates. That number fell to 2% in 2020. So that number fell, and of those who no longer voted for a third-party candidate, 2-1, they went for Biden. So to your point, when a third-party candidate's in the race, it tends to help Republicans.
Yes, and it's definitely a threat to Biden's bid. And I think this actually speaks to a big difference between Republicans and Democrats in general. Republicans tend to value the competition of ideas. You can see already, it's a massive primary field. A lot of candidates are getting into the race, and they're trying to show what they can offer to the American public. Democrats are not like that. The Democratic establishment keeps very tight reins on its candidates, and it chooses who's going to run and who's going to be the next president. RFK reminds me a little bit of the Bernie Sanders debacle back in 2016, right? Bernie was gaining in the polls. He actually had a lot of support. The Democratic establishment stepped in and said, no, we're going to go with Hillary. And I think that the Democratic Party risks that same backlash that they experienced back in 2016, is that Bernie still came within inches of winning the Democratic nomination because voters on either side of the aisle do not like being told who they can and cannot vote for. They want a choice for themselves. And when the establishment comes in and tries to take that choice away from them, they respond in turn.
Yeah, fair point.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.